I don't often like throw strays unnecessarily. They're unusable. Wow. This was dog. This is absurd. They're like, yeah, it just kind of is what it is. I'm like, dude.
There goes our ball sponsorship. Thanks a lot, guys.
He's the first person to win the double without losing a set.
Of course he is. You know how hard it is not to lose a set in a month? You don't have like a bad day? Has she ever been more of a clear-cut number one than she is right now?
I'm still so fascinated by her. Her tennis reflects her personality. There is swagger and there is charisma.
She's become really good at like, this is what it is. You work around my... I think she wants to pound her head against the pavement a little bit. We were kind of similar that way. I mean, I've had coaches where you're breaking up where it's like, you're my favorite person, but like, I don't know that we totally align on what's going on during the match. Kind of f***s you up a little bit. Like I asked Darren Cahill to coach me once and he said no. I got dumped by Connors. So your ego can take a bruising too. It's not just the coaches getting fired.
Can we just be friends?
AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built into. That's why it's no surprise that more than 85% of the Fortune 500 use the ServiceNow AI platform. While other platforms duct tape tools together, ServiceNow seamlessly unifies people, data, workflows, and AI, connecting every corner of your business. And with AI agents working together autonomously, anyone in any department can focus on the work that matters most. Learn how ServiceNow puts AI to work for people at servicenow.com. Hey everyone, welcome to Served, Miami Recap Edition. As always, we are brought to you by ServiceNow. Please subscribe.
Oh, wow.
Desperate, right?
That was really desperate.
Yeah.
That was good.
That was desperate.
Thirsty.
JW in the house, producer Mike, Techie Sean. Guys, you remember way back when, in January, Sinner lost to Novak in the Australian Open and Sabalenka lost another Grand Slam final. It's like, God, will they be able to overcome this disappointment? Do you think they've overcome this disappointment, JW?
I think our his and hers Sunshine double winners looking pretty good now, all of 60 days later. We'll save this for later, but man, Novak Djokovic came out pretty well, huh? I just beat that guy on a hard court like 2 months ago. It's pretty good. But now Sinner and Sabalenka, man, not a lot of hangover after their titles in Indian Wells. That was very impressive on both counts.
Yeah, and one thing I that just is screaming at me every match now. So, do we remember last year at the US Open? I remember, going into the tournament, I was like, I think I like Sinner on a hard court, and then he kind of was struggling with a serve throughout that event, like kind of hovering around 50% first serves in, and then against Alcaraz, he served like right around 50%. Maybe it was 49, maybe it was 51 or 52%, but it wasn't high, and he got beat. And they made an adjustment after the U.S. Open with his serve and his toss and getting forward. He's serving, like his statistics on first serve percentage and holds, he's holding 2% more than he did all of last year, which was pretty dominant. 92% service games held to 94%. And listen, he's barely losing matches when he serves over 65%, which is a pretty heady number. The one exception being the Novak match in Australia, but it took Novak kind of converting break points at like a hero clip over like 50% and Jannik going like 1 for 18 in break points. So like it was still most of the match. He was getting the most looks. He was protecting his serve probably better than Novak, but Novak is just, Novak and knows how to get through matches. But it's weird to look at someone like a Sinner and go, I think he's improved since last year. And if you look at the serving statistics from the US Open and later last year, there's a very, very clear statistical improvement on first serve percentage, first serves points won. And listen, when you're holding at a 92% clip and then all of a sudden you go up to 94, that's absurd. I mean, you return that well, like, and this is with a slow start, unquotes, to the year. But I don't know, like he serves like this on a hard court. I think he's tough to beat. He gave Carlos some daylight in the U.S. Open final last year with some second serves, but whatever they did to adjust, and they talked about it a little bit. I'm full buy on that one, JW.
We're coming in hot. We're going to ask about you about Brazil. We were going to say what's going on. Nice catch up. Let's get right to the all right, but let's go right to the winners because I was actually just Andrew Eichenholz, he's like the Greg Sharko, one of these tennis treasures. He did a great deep dive on the ATP website. I encourage you to read. It's exactly that point. It's basically Sinner is up to serve, and certainly statistically you can see it. Props to Alex Mickelson, by the way. I think was the only player to break Jannik Sinner in 6 matches at Miami. I'm curious, are you seeing anything? I mean, certainly the numbers speak for themselves. He's serving at a higher clip. He has more aces. I mean, just look at it on a table. Are you noticing anything different we hear this all the time, right? Oh, I've got to go work on my serve, and oh, they've really improved his serve. What does that mean materially?
Here's what I see. The US Open last year, it felt like he was chasing his ball toss like out in front, right? And so if you're chasing your ball toss out in front, your trajectory is flatter, right? It's like a Scottie Pippen jump shot versus like a Steph Curry jump shot. So if you bring that toss back a little bit, then all of a sudden your net clearance is going to go up because you're hitting it here instead of already forward and down. I'm guessing there's some version of that, or it's causal, right? We fixed this and therefore it brought it back for a little bit. But at the US Open last year, I felt like he was kind of searching and reaching out in front for his toss a little bit. And it feels like he's being a little bit more patient with going after it. I don't know that they've talked in detail about it. They say adjustments and we're left to kind of guess. But not dissimilar to, Carlos working on his serve is these two guys just kind of continuing to look for things to improve on, and the rest of Earth thinks they're good. It's just it's unbelievable what we're seeing from Jannik. And then the other part of the conversation is obviously Carlos wins in Australia, and you can't full credit, was the best player in the tournament by far. And also, if we don't care really about Indian Wells in Miami and what happened to him at those tournaments. If he doesn't win Australia on the heels of Ferrero, and then that's a very different conversation if he loses one match in Australia. He didn't. It's like, the what if game never ends, and he won there. But it's something to keep an eye on. Is your coach there for your best tennis, or is your coach there for your valleys and kind of raising the floor? We'll see. It's an interesting conversation.
I mean, I think he made headlines this week for a new yacht, and not for playing in the finals of a tournament.
I love it for him.
Yeah, the yacht looks sick, though.
You know how good you have to be at tennis
he's
to
still
get
ranked number one.
You know how good you have to be at tennis for someone to give you a yacht? It's not like
he ordered it, to be fair.
Like
the question
t-shirts.
is, how much did it cost? We don't know.
He has a deal with them, right?
Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah.
It's like Rafa.
He didn't pay shit for it.
I mean,
Rafa playbook.
he ordered. We don't know if he didn't pay shit.
He didn't pay for his watch either.
No.
Hey.
No.
You gotta love it as an athlete. The richer you get, the more free shit you get. There you go. Beautiful.
Wait, isn't that, you want to take a detour? Isn't that one of the great ironies of life? We're all about detours.
Let's not focus. Let's fucking get with it. Let's go.
It's totally true. This reminds me of the, this is like the swag bag at the Oscars. Like, right? Does Michael B. Jordan really need like a new iPod? No, it's true. These players sort of, the more success they have, the less they have to take out their wallet. Let's go back to these two. So there are 1 and 2. This is what Rivalry does, right? It elevates, it accelerates. You have to go down into the basement and tinker and do better. And I think I love that point you just made. Jannik Sinner loses that US Open final and very openly says, there are things I now need to work on if I want to stay in this rivalry, and I've got to figure out a way to amp up my serve. And then he goes out and does it. That's pretty good. If you're the rest of the field, if you're the other 98 players in the top 100, are your hopes renewed? Look, Jannik got taken down in the Middle East and he didn't win Australia. Or do you say, my gosh, Carlos goes out mid-tournament in both events and the other guy wins. I've got to go through both of these guys. It's as helpless as ever. What do you think?
Yeah, the winners haven't changed. The winners haven't changed. Like, Carlos wins majors and Jannik is winning everything else. Like, it hasn't really changed. If anything, it's like more depressing because like you get a look at the basket and then Jannik, you just want them to dip at the same time, and it feels like they never do. Like, Jannik takes a loss in the Middle East and Carlos runs shop, right? Like, I mean, Jannik goes down in Australia and Carlos dominates, and Carlos takes a month off and, on this swing, and Jannik isn't really challenged. Obviously that's but he's not challenged at scale. He didn't lose a set over the events. I mean, that's the thing. It's tough because we do this and I come on. I'm like, we have to realize greatness while we're here, but it's like, oh yeah, Jannik won, and we're like ready to talk about like 18 other things. He didn't drop a set in the Sunshine Double. Like, he didn't lose a set in the Sunshine Double.
That's
You don't
insane.
have like a bad day.
Right. Look at who he played too, including Zverev twice, who, notionally anyway is the number 3 player in the world. Different players, different conditions, night, day. We talk about, he won the Sunshine Double. No player's done that. So he did it without dropping a set, as you say. That's extraordinary.
He's the first person to win the double without losing a set.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is not to lose a set in a month?
It's crazy.
I mean, it's just a joke. And, I think I got a question for you, JW. You ready for this? And props to Sinner. Lehechka looked great. I like his when he plays well, he's very good. Now, the only thing stopping Lehechka from being a top 5, top 8 player is that doing this most weeks. Right? When he's dialed, he's beaten Alcaraz a couple of times. Like, he's capable of playing a high level. We'll get to winners and errors with some other players also, but I mean, his match that he played against Arthur Fils, 2-2, and Fils couldn't catch up to the ball.
He was getting so frustrated during the match.
Yeah, it would
crazy.
be too. The guy just played start to finish to the point where he finishes the match and you're going, yeah, I know what Sinner is. And I'm going, but if he plays like that, is that going to, no. 4-4. It's just, but Lehechka was great. I thought he was great the whole tournament. Obviously, it's a quicker court. If he's able to get some skid on his ball, we saw him last year make the finals of Queen's Club. On a fast surface, he's one to look at, right? You look forward to like a Wimbledon. I don't think. I mean, he did make I think he was in the semis in Madrid a couple years ago and then got hurt, and that ended up actually kind of ruining his year 2 years ago. But I think on a fast surface, he has just proven he's very dangerous. He's on the short list of disruptors on other
really
surfaces.
Streaky though.
I know.
We liked him. We talked about him before Australia, and then he goes, he lost to a French qualifier who so this guy didn't even get the reciprocal wild card, and he goes out and beats. You know who Lehechka lost? I had to look this up. I forget. Lehechka lost to Baez in straight sets in Indian Wells. That's not a win that usually augurs a final run at the very next tournament. This guy's really streaky, but when he's on, he's fantastic. And I think you're right. He really benefits from a faster court.
I think also it kind of begs us to make the point again. Not like we need to, because we're going to go into Sabalenka and you're going to hear a lot of the same stuff as far as consistency and greatness and not having off days, and even when you do, playing through them. Is you look at someone like Lehechka, who hasn't really been around much this season so far, and then comes up, but it's not surprising to see him make a run at a tournament because we know the upside is there. But like, if he was 2 or 3 in the world and he has the beginning of his year, we're going, oh, there's no consistency, right? You take Seb Korda, who I love, who played great in Del Rey and played great against Alcaraz, loses to a 19-year-old Spanish guy the next round, right? It is hard to kind of get that top level every day. And it's consistently proven by everyone else in the world except for these 3 or 4 players at a given time, right? It was like, Korda's amazing. Yeah, he is amazing. And also, it's fucking hard to go do it again the next day. That's what I'm saying. This peak consistency mentally, physically, is really hard. Not to lose a set, to go from losing, if you're Sabalenka, to go from losing in a final again in Australia, I mean, and then going and beating
the outliers.
Yeah, going and beating Rybakina twice in a row, and then beating. I mean, I was going to ask you before we went on our detour. Has Sabalenka ever been viewed as more dominant than she is? Has she ever been more of a clear-cut number 1 than she is right now? And that can be a couple of things. That can be her level, which I think is just always getting better. Her confidence is always getting better. Like, she gets pissed and you're like, uh-oh, and then she'll crank like 3 winners. Like you think you see it going away and it just doesn't anymore. But also with the regression recently of Swiatek, with Coco saying like, I can't believe, she's basically saying like, I can't believe I'm in the semis this week. Has she ever been more of a clear-cut number 1 in your eyes, JW?
It's a great question. And again, this is a theme we often go back to. But if we'd had this discussion a month ago, you'd say, what are you talking about? She's just coming off a loss of another major final. Over the last 2 years, she had a losing record in finals before Indian Wells and Miami. So she's got this new rival that comes on the scene. And what happens? She takes her out in 2 taut matches. She's got this rematch against Coco in the final. What happened the last time they played in a big high-stakes match? She won the first set, Coco won the second, and Sabalenka completely deteriorated. we're talking about the French Open final. You think that might cloud your thoughts a little bit. Not so much. And so what do we have now with Sabalenka? She's won 4 majors. It could be 8. She now has the upper hand against her rival. She's won the Sunshine Double. And you look at the points and you say, yeah, this has been more than a year now at the penthouse of the rankings. And I'm still so fascinated by her. And her tennis reflects her personality. The black box doesn't contain a lot of secrets and mysteries. It is what it is, and she's gonna come at you. And there is swagger, and there is this charisma. And every now and then there'll be a misstep. Every now and then there'll be a bad loss, and it doesn't seem to matter. She shakes it right off. And for her to come back and win the Sunshine Double after that disappointment in Australia, can we get a little into the X's and O's? Because people like me say, she's reined in her tennis and she's not as mercurial as she used to be. And she sure is powerful and athletic. I watch a lot of tennis. I have not played at that level. What does she do? What's it like being on the other side of the net? What does she do? Like, take the X's and O's a level deeper than I can go. What is she doing to perform at this level besides winning when she has to win?
She's dominating the middle of the court. Like, there were numerous rallies where, like, Coco can play her tough because she can get one ball back. And I think when Coco has to serve well against someone to stay in a match, she does. And when she has to protect her serve against someone she thinks she should beat, I think that's when we see it get a little dicey. But like, I saw Coco go, I felt like when I've hit with Coco, her ball comes through hot through the middle, right? Like she lines that backing up and it skids through. Sabalenka, you cannot get her off the baseline. Like, maybe if you're Rybakina bruises are a little bit more kind of taking that forehand to her running forehand. But like, if you have to, like, think about this. If you know that you have to extend the court to the sidelines to have success against Sabalenka, and I think that's generally accepted as a thing, but then the ball is coming through the middle and she is hitting it through the court, she's giving you no angle to actually push out to the sidelines, right? She is so good at dominating the middle of the court. And I think you used to be able to beat her with pace. If she hit a big one, you're like, okay, I'm going to step in and I'm going to commit to this and really try to back her off. You would see some of those like wild flinches and her body would fly off of it. She is so strong through the middle of the court and not scared to stay there and like trade punches with you. It's not just the power, that you see when she takes 2 steps this way and cranks one line or takes risk somewhere. She's tough to beat through the middle now, especially on that backhand side, which wasn't always the case. You used to be able to get her to kind of like lift off of it a little bit. I think the only person that can really go toe-to-toe through the middle is maybe Rybakina right now, and she's playing great. But like consistently, the couple of areas that I think, obviously, she went through the serving yips, 3 years ago, which we still can't talk about enough. To go from like complete meltdown mode to like having maybe I think Rybakina has the best serve on tour, but Sabalenka's, 1B or 2A or something like that. To work your way through that. And then she can take one hand off the racket now. She can chip when she needs to, right? So your couple of options were mix up paces, right? Which they were saying going in, which is accurate. But now you hit a little chip and she can hit one back. Okay, well, that sucks for you. And then saying, okay, let's mix up the paces, right? We have to. We can't go toe-to-toe with her. We have to mix up the paces. The ball's coming through so hot. You're trying to control the spin and trajectory off of a ball where you're on your heels. If you miss that a little bit, all of a sudden that's waffling in the middle of the court and she's distributing it. She just, like the great players do, she's making this margins so small to beat her. You have to play like Rybakina did in Australia and like Rybakina did in Indian Wells where she almost beat her, right? But it's weird. Like Sabalenka over the last 3 or 4 years has gone through, 6 months at a time taking people's best shots, right? Iga, she kind of took over from Iga and Iga was right there. They were trading off. And then Iga's faded a little bit. Like Coco came and got her a couple times, and then, but now Coco kind of is not the dominant player. Rybakina comes in and let's see if she stays there. Like, is Rybakina going to be here in 6 months? And I know Sabalenka is. It's just she's able to kind of take the best shots, and sure she'll lose sometimes, but she's the first one back on top of it. Like, she is really mentally tough.
That to me is that's a great analysis too, because we talk about how reducing margin, we usually think that means adding shape and spin. What you're talking about is a completely different way to look at giving yourself more margin. That has nothing to do with loopy shots.
She makes your opponent, like what I mean with margins is she's so comfortable hitting pace through the middle, that if you're going to take risk, it's off of something really hot and it's borderline irresponsible. And then if you don't actually execute it perfectly, you know, your jaws open and she's throwing an uppercut quickly. Right? Like it's like a boxer. You can take a chance, but then if you take a chance and you miss, you're on the canvas. Like that, she's become really good at like, this is what it is. You work around my shit, right? Like you gotta figure it out. I'm just gonna go with plan A. Not dissimilar to what Rafa used to do, honestly. Like you knew what was coming, and he was like, just beat me.
I mean, honestly, you're sounding like this is her personality in miniature. Like this is an expression of how it sounds she lives her life. I also she is absolutely dominating to your question before. I mean, she's the I don't care about surface. I don't care about matchup. She's the favorite of every match she plays. Basically, she's won one of the last 5 majors. One way to look at that is, boy, it's too bad she doesn't close these finals. Another way, more charitably, is, have we ever seen a player more resilient than this? I mean, the way she gets back on the horse after taking what would be bad losses to any other player is really extraordinary.
I feel like when I've watched her in the major finals that she's lost, I don't know. Like Madison played one of the best matches I've ever seen her play. Like Madison played unbelievable to beat her in Australia, right? I think the only one Rybakina was great in Australia. Like Rybakina is like the one right now that's going toe to toe. Rybakina played amazingly well, you know, and maybe she let something go. She maybe let it go against Anisimova last year in Wimbledon. That was in the semis. But the only real Grand Slam final where you're going, yeah, she was a little sloppy was against Coco in the French Open final. But then you go, okay, well, the conditions where it was blowing 35, and if you're a ball striker, that happens. Like that's normal. I don't know. I know it's a good talking point, but I don't view her going into matches and going like she's going to let this go. I think people have gone out and beaten her, and they've, like, you asked Madison Keys, how well did you have to play against Aryna, and she's going to go almost perfect.
Right.
Almost perfect.
Yeah, I don't think the criticism that she's lost those matches. I think it's more admiration that other number 1 ranked player. We've seen this plenty of times, right? I mean, losses can sting, and the way she gets back up and keeps winning matches, it's really something to behold. And all right, she's got 4 majors. She could have many more, but I think to your question right now, again, this is a player who's won 1 major in the last 18 months, and she is really far ahead of the field right now. I give her so much credit. I think she's one of these. You know, sometimes she's one of these players who I think this story's going to age well. X years from now, we're going to remember this era really fondly and have a lot of admiration for the way she went about her business.
I mean, she's entered 3 tournaments this year, or 4 tournaments this year. She's won 3 of them, and she's 23-1.
Yeah, I mean, she's dominant.
Pretty good.
You know, and we value majors, and that's how ultimately we remember our great champions. But you know, it's interesting. I'm curious to see now. The question is kind of, okay, you can argue Rybakina's played as well as she has this year. You know, beat her in the bigger match, lost 2 in the smaller events. But like that race for number 1, if you're Rybakina, you're going, I mean, I've played almost as well as I can this year, and she's just fucking right there. Like she's not going anywhere, right? She took my punch and she came back and like played a month worth of great tennis. Big result for Coco. You feel like it was needed, you know, and that's not even my opinion. Going into Miami, she's like, she said something to the effect of, and I'll get it a little bit wrong, but the general premise was, you know, how are you feeling? What yada, yada, yada. And she goes, yeah, it's weird. I have to remind myself that I'm a great player. Like I hear the accolades during intros and I'm going, yeah, that's me. Right. So, I mean, she goes, Miami was an unexpected result. She retired in Indian Wells. I don't know that I've heard Coco kind of be that honest about like, I wouldn't have told you that I was going to make the semis. And then she made the finals. I mean, that was a good run.
She said, although it sucks not coming through with a bigger trophy, she said, quote, I had a lot of joy this week.
Yeah.
You know, coming from thinking her arm was messed up and having nerve issues to making the finals.
It's a big jumping off point into the clay season, having a good result, right? And not kind of struggling going in. She seemed like she was healthy. That's the most important thing. Did you guys see what she said about she was wearing a ball cap this week? Did you see what she said about it?
Mm-mm.
She's basically like, I wore it in practice one day and I played practice well, so I had to wear it for my first match, and then it became superstition that I wasn't going to take it off this tournament. She goes, but I hate this hat. You will never see it again. she's like, I wore it one day. It was like a little super, you know. Maybe it wasn't superstitious. Maybe it was just a little stitious.
Little stitches,
But
many stitches.
But anyways, I thought it was a great result. Great result for Coco. Arthur Fils, like, we forget that this guy missed pretty much all of last year. There is one thing there that is interesting, and I'm sure the locker room is taking note. I don't think this is news to anyone. Very different. Like, you hear a lot of amateur players or analysts or good forehand, bad backhand, good forehand, and I want to, like, whatever little hair I have left, I want to pull out when I hear that. Arthur Fils is a great example, right? Plays great in the Middle East. Carlos is able to drill him, right? There's a huge difference, and it's very similar to like a Fernando Gonzalez. When Arthur Fils has time on his forehand, it is unreal. Like, you look at the highlights, if you were to watch a highlight package, you'd be like, this guy's the best forehand I've ever seen. The guys who can play hot to that side, because it's a big windup, right? You go hot to that side if you're Alcaraz, you go hot to that side if you're Lehechka. You can rush him on that side, but then when he has time, he rips your head off. Like, it's not just good forehand, bad backhand. It's good forehand when he has time. Maybe the swing is big with the 6 guys on earth that can rush him to that side. That matters, right? We talked about that a little bit, the best forehands list. It's like you have to be able to play defense as well. But listen, if you're his team, coming back, having consistent results, making semis, this is a great comeback for him. Sebi Korda, like, he's like, I watch him. He's a top 10 guy.
What do you make of that?
Top 10 guy. But it's like you just want him to put it all together. Like, he plays unbelievable against Alcaraz, kind of serves for it, lets it go, plays a great third set. And then the next round loses to Landaluce. Is that right?
Seventh.
In Nebraska, we would say land loose.
Land loose.
Land loose. But it just, it's like you want him to beat Alcaraz, and then, like, okay, let's make a fucking semi or a final, or let's, like, establish, and then to go out the next round. I'm sure it was like highs of highs in beating Alcaraz, and then just like, God, shit. You created your own lane, you opened the door, and then you just didn't quite walk through. But all in all, obviously great stuff. Shelton and Fritz searching for something. You got to figure their mouths are watering going into these two events. Didn't play great. We'll talk a little bit more, I think, with the coaches. Iga's searching for something. It's a weird thing to do, but, like, if you take out Wimbledon last year, which again is like the Alcaraz thing, like, you can't take that away from him. If you remove that, it changes a lot. Like, it really does. Andreeva, I'm going to get your thoughts on that, because obviously the darling last year at this time and has struggled a little bit. Props to Haley Baptiste, is up to a career high 33 in the world. Really playing great stuff. But there's some coaches. You have any more winners unforced errors, JW, you want to throw out before we move on to coaches?
I like the ones you brought up. Haley Baptiste. And also she had to beat her doubles partner, Ostapenko. Very, very nice 2 weeks for her.
I mean, if you had to beat a doubles partner.
What else? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Make it Ostapenko. How about, what do you say? How about Taylor Townsend, Sunshine double winner with Siniakova in women's doubles? No, I think we hit on the big ones. I mean, it was sort of, honestly, it was an interesting 3.5 weeks of tennis. I'm not sure that the finals didn't shock the players that won the big trophies. A lot of sort of strange results tucked in there. I think one thing this showed is that Sunshine Double is a thing, and winning it is not just winning back-to-back tournaments. These are 3 time zones apart. They play totally differently. They're different weather. There's different humidity. There's different night and day. And I think it's really impressive. Sometimes we gloss over it. Oh, it's the 2 spring North American hardcourt events, but it's really 2 very different tournaments, which means winning both is really impressive. You want to talk about some of these? I mean, the Iga, this was, I think, right as we were, literally right when we were recording last week, Iga announced she was parting ways with Wim Fissette. This is not, as you say, like, she won Wimbledon. She's a defending Wimbledon champion. But I think you're right. If you remove that result, it's a much different composite. It was less about the coaching change than some of the, I don't know if you caught some of the remarks she made. She's a confidence, like a shattering of confidence. I'm not reading this verbatim, but it was all sort of about where she is mentally, which is not a great place, and sort of subconsciously or unconsciously, she said there were a lot of, I'm inside my head too much as it is. Part of me is thinking, candidly, it's great. She's had a long time psychologist on staff. We support mental health in sports more generally, but it seems to me everything she referenced was about her mental health. And then she fires her. To me, it's like saying you're in really, you hire someone for a physio for conditioning, and you keep breaking down. So I'm going to get rid of my racket stringer and my biomechanics expert. It really seems much more mental than coaching. But Iga parts ways with Wim Fissette. As of now, we don't have. I've heard a couple rumors, but we'll see who takes over the bag, as it were. I mean, and you referenced. I don't know if we talk about Anisimova, another coaching change. I don't know. I'm curious where. So I don't know. I'm going to say where you stand, but sort of it's a very strange relationship in the best of times, which these are not. How does a player know when it's time to hear a new voice? How does a player know when it's a slump you need to ride out? I mean, if you're Anisimova, you say, listen, in the last calendar year, I've been to the finals of 2 majors. How bad could it be? But clearly she wasn't seeing the results or hearing the messages she wanted to. It's really weird in tennis where it comes down to the player. Not like there's a billionaire owner making the decision. What goes into that, and what is that dynamic like?
It's always different, right? Like the thing that people need to realize with like the coach-player relationship, if you're a quarterback for a football team, like how many times do you think Tom Brady went to dinner with Bill Belichick? Just the two of them and one other person. 3? Like,
Maybe.
I'm serious.
Maybe.
That's Monday through Thursday. Maybe you take a night off.
It's like 18 years together too, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the most interpersonal coaching player relationship in sports. I would think, maybe golf caddy or so, but then again, that's like different from the swing coach. The responsibilities aren't all on you. I mean, I've had coaches where you're breaking up where it's like, you're my favorite person, but like, I don't know that we totally align on what's going on during the matches. There's ones where it's like you get fatigued because by the time you're at your 220th dinner, like you can't take it anymore. There's the coaches where it's like at a certain point, I don't need a babysitter. So I had a coach, my earliest coach is like, it was almost too emotional every time I lost because he was so passionate about my success, which is like a hard thing, but it also like was this other pressure set because of it. There are so many different things, and I've had coaching relationships, and they've all kind of ended or started for different reasons, right? And it's funny because Iga, even you go back if you want to kind of insight into her head, it's funny because she always seems to kind of, you're like, oh my gosh, you're on top of the world, you just won Wimbledon. She's like, yeah, but it's been tough. I'm like, like she'll go back to the place where it's kind of like, I feel like she won Wimbledon, and even still during her interview is like, we'll see if I can keep serving that way in Canada. Like all these brains are very different, and greatness presents itself in different ways. I don't think she just lets losses roll off the back and they're like, okay, I'll get the next one, or I'm excited. We'll see how I do in the clay court season. She squeezes and grips. I was probably the same way, but in that interview that we had last summer, I was like, well, Wim Fissette, great, and she's like, yeah, it wasn't easy at first. Yeah, it hasn't been it wasn't the easiest 6 months going into Wimbledon. So I actually said, I think I said it to you about 3 weeks ago. I was like, if this goes a little sideways, it didn't seem like it felt like it was maybe work a little bit. And Wim Fissette's a great coach. He's had, a ton of success with a ton of players. But as much as it is about tennis and X's and O's, it's about personalities and meshing. And it doesn't mean someone's a bad person or you're a bad person. It's just like sometimes you like different music. You don't want to listen to the same music. What you listen to sucks and what I listen to is great. And we both think that, right? Like it's just maybe a bad example, but all that stuff has to kind of flow and work. And with Anisimova, it's interesting. I have reset underlined twice here. It's amazing how quickly expectations reset. If she's 9-6 at the beginning of last year, that's a pretty good start to the year. Based on you not being main draw at Wimbledon the year before. And now a couple of slams later, and you want to make that jump into, 2, 1, 3, whatever it is. And there's like a lack of consistency when you're comparing to 6 months ago. It all just changes a little bit. You can not want to coach because you don't think they're tactically sound. Not want to coach because you just can't actually, you're frustrated by the conversations that might not have anything to do with tennis. It's just such a complicated relationship. I mean, maybe that's an episode we do with like Coach's Corner, and we have 3 different coaches on and ask them all the same questions and see the different answers or something. I don't know what it is.
I'll give you a quick story real quick about the intensity. I was talking to Brad Stein, Tommy Paul's coach in Australia, and I said, I don't know, how's this where you're in Fresno, he's in Florida, and he goes, oh my God, if we had to see each other, they weren't staying in the same side of town in Australia for a major. and they live on opposite sides of the country. And he said, if we had to sit there and have every meal together and sit out every rain delay and tell the same stories, we'd go crazy. It's like, distance makes the heart grow. He said that the fact that we keep this distance between us, and then Tommy has another coach in Florida that he works with, he's like, that's why we've been together for 7 years. If we had to have this intense relationship like other players do, we would have been done after 6 weeks. We should do a special episode because it's a unique relationship. I always think it's strange that we were talking about this with Larry Stefanki too. Like, a coach by definition is this authority figure, and yet the player is the one paying the bills. I think we should do more of this. But no, Iga looks for a coach. Amanda Anisimova looks for a coach. I don't know how relevant do you think it is that we have do we have a natural reset between surfaces? Okay, first Q1 out of the way, we're moving to clay, we're crossing an ocean. I wonder if that doesn't accelerate things, but those are two, a good one. You want to spin it the other way. Those are two very high profile, high performing players who now have coaching vacancies. They're two plum jobs that just came open.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of have to create your space in the calendar at some point. I'm guessing Iga's not going to give up a lot of clay court weeks. Whereas you see Taylor Fritz for the first time isn't going to Monte Carlo, which I think is probably rational. It feels like he doesn't take weeks off, so he's have this lingering knee thing, and it's like chicken or the egg. Are you not playing as well as you'd like because you're not getting the reps in because your knee hurts a little? So hard reset feels good there. I always was very clear, end of Miami, there needs to be a 3-week gap where I can build my body back up and kind of get ready for, through Wimbledon of things again. I don't think it's in Iga's nature to kind of sit back and not go back to I think she wants to pound her head against the pavement a little bit. We were kind of similar that way.
So what is the process right now? Are they going to start interviewing coaches? Like NFL has an off season. There's a coaching carousel. Baseball has an off season, like even soccer, right? Or football. Like what does the interview process look like? And it's sometimes maybe, do you look at the available coaches and sometimes you're like, oh, maybe there's somebody better for what I need right now, and you start there? How's that?
I think you have to be pretty self-aware. And also it depends on different points in your career, right? Like when I hired Connors or hired Stefanki, it was only my input, right? And I've been denied. I got turned down from coaches. So that's another thing that kind of fucks you up a little bit. Like I asked Darren Cahill to coach me once, and he said no. I asked Jim Courier to coach me once, and he said no. And you're like, God, fuck it. I mean, it was
just a flat no. Wait, to say I didn't know it. Say more. How does that?
I don't know that there is much more. I think listen.
So
it was
one of these call me anytime. I'm happy to give you input. I just don't want to travel, or you're awful. I don't want to say more. How
I don't even know that it was a soft landing. I don't even know that it was like
Randy Jackson's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, it's like one of those ones where everyone's like, I can't travel, and then they take another job 2 weeks later.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's not with you. They can't travel with you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but then that kind of messes you up too. It's like, oh man, Jim was different. He never coached. So he's like, I have no interest in, I can't do it. I don't want to do it, whatever. But that can mess with you too. So I don't know, you can have you make it sound like we're just going to pick our, people, and but it might be a laid back coach who's like, I can't handle the intensity every day of Iga. I need to, I don't know. It's a fascinating thing, but yeah, I was dumped once. I got dumped by Connors. I got so your ego can take a bruising too. It's not just the coaches getting fired.
So interesting.
Sorry, I didn't want to. Can we just be friends? To Mike, it's a great question, Mike. The other thing one thing I've noticed is the agents for certain players can play a significant role. For some agents, they have their favorites that they like to cycle in. So anytime a coach needs a player needs a new coach, I got just the guy for you. And sometimes I don't want to say any, but sometimes I can fail spectacularly. Other times the results can be better. But I think on the women's side, especially, the agents can have a significant voice.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I don't know. It's completely. Iga could say, "Go get me 5 names," or she could say, "I want this name." And then we go from there. And when I was talking to coaches, you'd get into a conversation, you'd ask a couple questions, they'd ask a couple questions. You could go in thinking one thing, and at the end of the conversation, it could go either way. Like, I don't know if this is the person. And then like even Larry, like he was so like offensively honest that I loved it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's
But
you can't even move. You're like an elephant out there. You got to move. You got fucking, you're a little chunky there. You know, I'm like, oh,
but would you have
that's
liked that at 19? You know, like would you?
It would have been. Well, I don't think I could. To JW's point with TP and Brad Stein, at 19, I needed someone there every day. Like Tariq was there, and he would like. I lived a mile from him, so I needed someone to like set the times for practice. I needed someone to set the schedule. You know, I wasn't like. It wasn't as if, hey, what time are we? You know, let's practice at 10. He's like, you're going to be up. You're going to practice at 8:30. Then I was just following orders at that point, and at a certain point, like that shifts, right? And then Larry was in San Diego. I didn't need him to babysit me, right? I needed very, very, very specific things, you know, that we were going to work on when I had him for 5 or 6 days, you know. So, but it's timing too, like that, what you're ready for versus what you're. Anyways, I hope all of these decisions go well. You mentioned Brazil at the top, JW. Should we take a break for a second?
Yeah, let's take a little break.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, I got to hit with these Dunlop balls, the ones that everyone always whines and cries about, and we hear about them every week, and I'm going to give you my verdict on the other side.
On Twitch.
On Twitch. AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built on. With the ServiceNow AI platform, your AI, data, and workflows all work together, connecting every corner of your business. To see how you can put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com/AI-agents. Welcome back to Serve, brought to you by ServiceNow. So I had to go to Brazil, and Visa got all messed up. Like I was going on there to play a deal. And it's the first time I've ever gone to the airport to go somewhere and then been home 30 minutes later.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Wasn't TSA related.
Visa, no, it wasn't. Visa was not great. And I got the lady at the desk just gave me full Matumbo.
Yeah.
Just swatted my shit out of there. And she's like, you're a basic bitch and you don't have the right stuff.
Denied.
So, is basically what happened. Anyway, so I went back the next day. But what happened was, you know, I get off the plane and I have to play 5 hours after I land, after sleeping. It was clay. They'd laid it down. Del Potro's forehand. It was just all sorts of stress mechanisms. None were good. So then I'm like, all right, let's just get through this shit. And so get there, we break. And Andre pulled out because of his back. And so who'd they replace him with? Schwartzman, who is like, he's been retired like 10 weeks. Like, great. This is perfect. This is fantastic. This is exactly what I need. But they give us the Dunlop balls because they were playing a challenger there. So we used whatever the challenger was using. I don't often like throw strays unnecessarily. Mm-hmm. They're unusable.
Can you explain they're
fucking terrible.
You were like writing about that.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Like the seam on a ball, like like you have the felt and then the seam, it should look level. It should be like the rounded edges should be like kind of continuous and at least predictable. Bumps, nodules, blows up quickly. It's not. If this is what like Medvedev is talking about and all these people are talking about, they're absolutely right.
The ball's blowing up big.
But it's not. But even the seams and like where they use the grout glue type stuff, it's like uneven. It's horrible. It's not like we're not trying. And my mind goes to like, okay, I understand if people pay and they want to use the ball and like I understand the business side of it. There has to be quality control.
There has to be some regulation.
There has to be something. It was shocking. Like I know I have a situation with Wilson, so like I fully understand that feedback, and also their balls at least like they're predictable, and this was dog shit.
Well. Let's be clear. I mean, first of all, there goes our Dunlop ball sponsorship.
I don't want it. Guys. I can't tell you to go use those.
But let's. I'm trying to think of the metaphor. Let's square the circle in keeping with the shape of the Dunlop balls. This is what Taylor Fritz was complaining about at Indian Wells, right? I mean, this is not just a tennis ball that's being used for a fun event in Brazil. I mean, they're players.
We were playing a challenge. We were at a challenger tournament. So this is what the challenge people are trying to make a living. I mean, I was stunned. I'm like, and I asked you, I'm like, this is absurd. They're like, yeah, it just kind of is what it is. I'm like, dude, go to Target and buy your balls. That's what I had to rant because it was terrible.
I'd be interested to talk to somebody from the ATP about it because I know that they've talked about.
I'd like to talk to someone from Dunlop.
From a more centralized, like, oversight over all the balls across all three of the manufacturers, across all four of the slams. I mean, why is it taking so long? I don't understand why it's taking so long.
Because they probably have a deal in place. So they have to work with.
But like, I don't know, send inspectors to the manufacturing plants. I mean, what are we doing?
Not that is what we're doing. We're not doing that. All right. What else?
Brazil's a cool country, though.
Love it. Love Brazil. Love everything about it. Enjoyed the situation. Melageni is like, he was one of our first listeners. He has his own podcast now. He's working down there. Like, he's got his own little thing. He's like, I can't believe you just talk about time. I'm like, yeah, it was great. He's like, we just started doing it. I'm like, great. Schwartzman's cool. I'd never been around him before. Like, you can tell why everyone really likes him.
His socials were good.
He's cool.
He posted some stuff.
Did he? Yeah, he was. Yeah. I'll tell you can't turn a corner without that guy sticking his little camera in your face, though.
That's what we were talking about in the morning meeting.
Like, we're in the locker room, and hey, he's like, hey, I was like, Jesus Christ. He's like, Andy?
Yeah, he had a post where you were talking about you were grateful for Del Potro beating you because then it saved you from potentially having a losing record against Novak.
Correct. Oh, he had his camera on then?
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's like, Schwartzman's like a little paparazzo, dude. Like, he pops in. You'd be like on a switch over, like mumbling to yourself. He's like, ¿Qué pasa?
Does he work for Tennis Australia?
He does. Yeah, he was working for Tennis Australia as a player.
He's a social media guy.
Well, he describes his job as like, I need to go get the vibe from the players, and obviously he's a trusted, like, that's a great choice.
Vibes guy.
Del Potro's the man. Love him. His body is just. I feel bad for him. Like, I hope and no one ever forgets how fucking good he is or was. Like, he's maybe my number one on, like, injury, like the what if game. Oh, wow. He was that good. Like, I don't want anyone to ever forget. I know no one in Argentina or South America will ever forget, but he needs to be one of those top names that rolls off the lips. He is so good. I love him to death, and his body has just failed him. It's hard to see. It's hard to see. Anyways,
that's cool.
What else you got?
JW, as we were coming on, you were sending us a text message. This is Monday, so you were sending a text message, maybe some headlines with the WTA leaving Saudi Arabia.
Oh yeah, This was not a well kept secret.
Can we say it out loud, even though everyone already knows?
Well, I mean, Ben Rothenberger put it out on Bounces that the WTA Finals to leave Saudi Arabia.
I mean, there's literally a time this year where Ben Rothenberg goes, I'd like to confirm a story. Can I get you on the record? I go, I don't know what you're talking about. He prints it anyways. Like, he doesn't need much of a nudge. But this one I think is real.
I think this one's real. I think he nailed this one. No, I mean, it's not been, it's an open secret that this was a 3-year deal in Saudi Arabia. I mean, for a variety of reasons. What's going on in that part of the world? The human rights record that has not improved for the premier women's sport. And then I think some of this is just, I mean, I don't know. I think that arena, you're playing in front of 4,000 fans. I think the WTA
it holds 4,000 fans, which is different than what I saw in the stands.
Yeah, they cordon off. They cordon off the top tier. So I had heard that there was a Polish promoter interested, but now it seems as though the city of served. Now it seems like the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. We can have a longer discussion about this another time. I mean, you're paying $15 million in prize money, and you're paying whatever $10 million to the WTA. I hope the answer is yes. Is there $25 million in Charlotte to take over this event?
I don't know. I know for a fact that there were discussions last week. No one has reached out to us directly. I don't know. There's no communication. I know the people that are doing it are a quarter of a mile away. Mm-hmm. And I heard about it through other people. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like they're trying to round them up. I don't think it's a done deal, like has been represented. I don't think that's the case. But I think Charlotte's probably the favorite at this point.
It's the leading city, and there's maybe a couple other ones. I think from what I've heard, I think the WTA wants it. I think Charlotte has a big appetite for it. So we'll see. It feels like they had a lot of the right people in the room, not us, but it feels like they had a lot of the right people in the room trying to sell the event to the city of Charlotte last week. If it's at Spectrum Center, I mean, the group that now owns the Hornets is doing a great job. Trying to expand sporting events here in the city. So this would be great. I mean, it's been a tough event. If we're being honest. Like Kim even said, like in LA, it was rough. In Mexico, it was rough. In Dallas, it was rough. And these have all been kind of like fire hose situations, like last minute.
Riyadh was rough. So hopefully Charlotte is the solution. I would love to see it. We would love to have professional tennis in this city.
Yeah, bear in mind, you could argue, China's what got all this started. But no, this is a premier event for the WTA. Realistically, it probably should be in the market where the most top players hail. It'd be great to get it back in the United States, as long as they don't use Dunlop tennis balls. Bring it to Charlotte. That's what I say.
Yeah, I'm gonna go all. I know that one's gonna. I already have regrets about going about that, but I didn't lie. So here we are.
They make good tires.
Oh my gosh!
Give them a make good.
Great, the best,
the
amazing,
best. Right, the best.
Much better than their tennis balls, which they
trying to help
die a fiery death.
Before we get out of here, we're going to try and start doing more poll questions, and we want to start getting fans involved. But we actually sent one of your good friends, Andy, a guy named Keith Krieger, to the Miami Open this year to take some photography for us, and the Miami Open was gracious enough to give him a 2-week photo pass, and he had some incredible photos. And this Friday, we put up a poll. Sean has a couple of them that he's going to cycle through right now, but we asked the fans, of these 19 photos that we put up on Instagram, what would be the top 5 favorites? And we have the winners.
What are your favorite 18 out of the 19?
Yeah. So
comfortable.
So number 5 was this photo of Sinner. Here, just class fist pump.
Classy.
Number 4 was Coco Gauff, giving us a good yell, wearing the semi-superstitious hat.
The little stitious hat.
Little stitious hat.
Yeah, not superstitious, just a little.
Now the rest of the voting, you're not going to be as surprised about. I think number 3 came in as Joao Fonseca.
Yeah.
Just giving us
stuffed the ballot.
Just
Andy's new favorite country stuffed the ballot box.
That's fine.
Stuffed the ballot box. Yeah. And then next up we have one Vicky Mboko.
That's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Love that shot.
That's a cool shot.
Keith is so good. Can we point people to his website?
Yeah, Keith. Yeah. Keith is so good. Well, he's one of the best potters in the world. Like
that's the crazy thing.
That's his thing. And now he's like side gigging in these amazing photos.
I know.
And anyways.
And then shocker, Alex Ayala, number 1.
Yeah.
With triple the votes of everybody else. Shocker. But thank you guys for casting in your votes. And I think the next week's poll question, and I'm interested to hear your take on this, Andy, maybe hold it. But in 2024, Clayler was born when Taylor Fritz had a big run on the dirt. Now that Fritz has pulled out of Monte Carlo to rehab his knee tendonitis and is questionable until grass court season, which American player could be the new disruptor on clay? And we're actually going to get into this with you in Q and Andy.
We did a show that will be Monday's show that we will clip from, right? We can talk about this.
We're transitioning to next week's show.
Yeah. The new CEO or incoming CEO for the USTA, Craig Tiley, was able to sit down with him at the USTA annual meeting last week, along with president, chair of the board, and co-CEO until Craig actually lands with both feet on the ground, Brian Vahaley, who I've known for a long time. Kind of just went through growth plans, asking Craig, because it was literally the worst kept secret in tennis. Everyone knew for 3 months and we couldn't talk about it. But anyways, got to sit down with them, which I thought was really cool, really gracious. The first time he's kind of talked on record since taking that job. So that was really fun. That'll be next Tuesday's episode.
Yeah, next Tuesday's episode, actually. I think Sean has a clip of it right now that we'll play for you guys. Just a little taste.
Cool. After all the success you've had in Tennis Australia, like that sunset must have looked really close, right? Like, why the USTA? Why now?
I just see a massive opportunity in US tennis right now. There's a long-term vision. There hasn't been that ever, and I think we're in a great position that the game's growing, and the people in this room, as you said at the beginning, are the people that are going to make it happen. So I saw tremendous upside. There's a way that the US, again, could lead the world when it comes to participation, getting people to play the game, getting people to perform well in the game.
And then one other one I want to throw your way, and I don't even think JW knows about this yet. I love digging in to tennis, and not just the players, but the people that like prop up the players and enhance players' performance. So Jason Stacey a lot of people will know him because he's the one who draws the tiger on his head when he loses a bet with. But I remember him when I was on tours with Dmitry Tursunov, and now has had this unbelievable run with Aryna Sabalenka. So her performance coach, Jason Stacey, is going to come on and do Q and Andy. I don't know if it's going to be next week or the week after, but in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have him on. So if you have, I have a ton of questions that I want to ask, but if you have questions as fans, never too early to start sending them in for Jason Stacey of the Aryna Sabalenka team. I think that's it, homies.
That's it.
This has been Served. We'll see you next week. AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built on. With the ServiceNow AI platform, your AI, data, and workflows all work together, connecting every corner of your business. To see how you can put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com/AI-agents.